Was dinged up in practice. Jack Buford being the last one that will be available for practice tomorrow. We've got your normal bumps and bruises, nothing bad. Nothing is going to keep anybody from playing. Now, I hope they are miserable after Thursday night. It's the way a football team should be that's any good. And then they just figure out how the rest of the way to make it through. And I think our training staff, Bob Waller and Steve Pillard, have done a great job of getting those guys back on the field when they get nicked up and handling our COVID-safe protocols and all those wonderful things. So we'll see if we get some nicks and bumps and bruises on Thursday. I mean, I hope we do, and then we fight through it. What was Jack dealing with? Low back, and he was out with he was not under concussion protocol. He had a back strain, and he had some fogginess and dizziness a couple of days ago. So we went through and made sure that he was good, and he hadn't had any issues. So he'll be fully cleared tomorrow, both back and head. Sorry, Isaiah Chavez is out. That's bad. Isaiah Chavez is a big part of our team. He is not cleared for Saturday's game yet. He is going through the concussion protocol from our last scrimmage. He will be at practice tomorrow, and then he'll be full go Tuesday next week as long as he continues symptom-free. He was out there for a little bit today.
In terms of COVID protocols, did anything change at all with changing directions from the state in terms of the Delta variant?
So with the vaccinations and everything, so if you're unvaccinated, our kids that are unvaccinated on the sideline will be in masks. We are not required. They're not required to be in masks if they're vaccinated and playing in the game. So we'll keep our sidelines to restricted access to our sidelines. It won't be like it was 3 years ago. We'll get back to that eventually. I refuse to live in the world where everybody says the new normal, because we can defeat this if everybody does their part. But you'll see some precautions, and then everybody that feels when they come in the stands, if wearing a mask is making you feel safer, or if you're unvaccinated, you should wear a mask and help stop the spread of any transmission. We want people in the stands, and we want them to do it safely. We want them to do it to their comfort level, and I think we've shown around the country that it can be done. And so I think our community has done a great job with vaccinations in the state of New Mexico. I think our kids have done a great job with that. The Delta variant obviously can pop up, and you could end up with 30 cases overnight. So we have to continue to stress to our kids to please continue to wash their hands, stay safe, not go out in groups, don't hang out. I mean, do all the protocols we have like they've done, and keep stressing that to them. Now, they've been tied up for a year and a half, so they're anxious to get out, but they've done a great job what we're asking them to do.
Believe me, I was in the same situation, but if a positive case does turn up, is there contact tracing?
There sure is. There is. So we follow the CDC guidelines exactly. If you're vaccinated, now we have the ability to test those young men if they've been around somebody that tests positive. If they have symptoms of any kind, they call before they come over, and then we have the opportunity to test them to make sure that it is not COVID. Now, we test for other things also. We test for mono, we test for strep throat, we test to make sure that we're not just blindsided and it's only COVID that we're worried about, because the top priority is the health and safety of these kids and our football team. So we make sure that they're good in everything before we bring them back over here and put them into the rest of the group. Now, there's a lot of colds going around right now. There's a stomach bug going around right now. So not everything's COVID, but we take all the precautions to make sure that our football team stays safe so that we can continue to compete. Go ahead, Henry.
Coach, is there a resounding difference why and how you selected your starting quarterback to the other quarterbacks? What was it that sells you on this young man?
I think his experience had a factor in his ability to perform in the competition. He's played at a high level, and he's won at a high level. His charisma and his leadership of the football team, it stood out there. I thought Isaiah and Trey and CJ did a great job competing. The best part that they did is they helped Terry along the way. When Terry got here in June, that quarterback room met, and they did an outstanding job of collaborating together. When one of them did something wrong, they coached each other up, so it wasn't only Coach Merringer that was trying to fix it. And when you have a mature group like that, it gives you a lot better chance of being successful. It also gives you a lot better chance of being successful if Terry gets hurt, or if Isaiah gets hurt, or if CJ gets hurt, or if Trey gets hurt, and the next guy steps up. They obviously did a great job of paying attention last year, because obviously we went through 5 of them, and they kept responding and kept getting better as it went along. Isaiah Chavez played really well the last 2 games. He played well enough for us to win. And I'm really disappointed that he's not available right now because of that last scrimmage, but he'll be back, and he knows how important he is to our team, not just for the playing ability in the last 2 games, but his personality, his leadership style. I've said it numerous times. If you watch our Nevada game from last year, when the quarterbacks were coming off the field, he was the first one greeting them. He was the most excited when we scored. He was into it. He knew he was. I mean, you're the 5th string quarterback, QB5. You're 5 plays away from playing. Yeah, well, everybody says that. You're a play away from playing. You're a play away from playing, until all of a sudden he's playing. So that room is important, but the maturity that's in that room has really helped bring them all along.
The last one, the van.
Go ahead, man.
Van that well.
Coach, could you talk about how effective Cade Briggs has been protecting the blind side? I just talked to him.
Cade has done a great job. Cade Briggs is from Bishop Gorman. It's a big-time winning program, and trying to change the habit of losing and winning. I think he's done a great job of expressing how important doing all the little things right are. When you have a really good left tackle, you really don't talk about him very much. And we didn't have any issues with him last year. When the quarterback was getting hit, it wasn't misassignments from that side. So when you're not talking about a guy, he's probably really valuable. And Cade Briggs has done a really good job, 1, learning the offense since we've got here, 2, taking some leadership between him and Kyle, their voice along the front. And then he's got that attitude. I mean, on the football field, Cade's a jerk now. I love it. I mean, that's who you want him to be. But when he steps off that white line, he's a really good kid, and he's a good student, and he does everything right. Well, that's hard to do and get enough of those guys, because the real word I want to say, you want them to be that way on Saturday and on Thursday nights. But they're citizens in our community that, you know what, they're going to date girls and date somebody's daughter, and they need to be respectful young men, because they're going to be the next leaders of our community. So he is that. And, I mean, those are the kind of guys you want. Up front, we're looking like we're supposed to look. I mean, our scout offensive lineman is as good a scout-looking team I've ever been around. Now, we got to coach them up, because they don't move great. They have athletic ability, but they don't know how to use it yet. So Coach Lins has his hands full, but he's got a lot of tools to work with, which is really exciting. Go ahead, Will.
You feel like in some ways this is your first year? I mean, because you were gone all year last year. We had to keep these guys locked in dorm rooms, and you guys are locked in your own rooms. But it's almost like your debut for you, your coaching staff, for the entire team.
I feel like I've been here forever. Probably because of my desire and love for this place. I mean, obviously, I played here from 94 to 98, coached here from 98 till 2008, and then I was gone for 10 years. It doesn't seem like I was gone for 10 years in my everyday life. I mean, the previous 2 stops are a blur. And everything that we've done the last year, I got a lot more gray hair from the stress and anxiety of trying to keep those guys locked down, and them doing everything. I can't express it enough, how they did everything we asked them to do. And you've got to think of this now. You got a brand new head coach who's been in charge of the program for 2 months, and now we get shut down. And now I'm becoming the biggest jerk, for lack of a word, that they've probably ever been around, because I'm sitting here telling them, hey, you go home. You don't go hang out. You don't hang out with your teammates. You don't go to parties. If you do, I'm going to kick you off this football team. I mean, that's a bad way to live. But they responded in an amazing way. And so there's certain rights and privileges that I really feel strongly about that you give up to be on a team. Well, that's the ultimate right and responsibility. That's the ultimate privilege you're giving up to be able to have your freedom. I mean, I understand it was the way of the world, but we put even stricter guidelines on people, and there's a lot of mental health issues out there and all that. We didn't have mental health issues on our football team. They were in this together, and they did an amazing job. Now, we gave them a bunch of resources, and I thought the coaching staff did a tremendous job in Las Vegas of spending time with the guys so that they weren't locked up with their roommate. I mean, they had 2 choices, to be in their room with their roommate or to come down to the ballroom where we were and hang out. They didn't get to walk around the hotel. They didn't get to walk around Las Vegas. I mean, we were out in the middle of nowhere in Henderson. And so that's very easy. Now, Coach Bradbury and Coach Weir with our basketball teams, they went through something significantly different than us. We had a home base in Las Vegas. We knew when we went somewhere, when we came back, where we were coming to. We had the same beds. Now, it wasn't our beds, but we had the same ones. Now, we weren't around our families, but we didn't have a COVID positive case where 10 of our girls got locked up into a room and they weren't allowed to leave the room. They got fed by the door like they were, for lack of a better word, in jail. We didn't go through that. So I'm super proud of our women's basketball team and men's basketball team for competing and doing the things they did. And people don't have a great enough appreciation for what they went through. And then you want to put a conference championship on top of that. I know I'm going on a soapbox derby now, but I think people really need to understand how great our athletic department is doing right now, how exciting it is around here. Now, when we win a few football games and Coach Pitino turns the basketball thing around, it's going to be a heck of a time here in Albuquerque. It's coming. I promise you, people, it's coming. And I'm proud to be a part of it. No, we are not. We turned that off. We turned that off when we came back in December and had a great team meeting about it. The greatest thing about that, Will, that was their idea. That shows a significant commitment to play when they were willing to give up their freedom like that. That was my true, honest opinion. When they first came up with it, I told them, no way, I ain't doing it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. They convinced me it was the right thing to do. That's pretty good for a football team that's committed to playing. And then our administration gave us the opportunity by saying, well, we're going to play. We'll figure it out. We're going to play. I mean, we got good guys. Are they good enough football players yet? I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm not sitting up here saying we're a good football team yet. And I'm not afraid to tell our guys we're not a good football team yet because I don't lie to them. I don't lie to them about anything. And when we're good, I promise you, I'll tell them we're good. When we win 10 games, we'll be pretty dang good. And if we can make that happen, but they'll never be lied to. Just after the Utah State game, I told them we were terrible. Now, sorry with me. I was coaching them terrible. All the coaches were coaching them terrible, and we were playing terrible. Well, guess what? They responded, and we won the next two. I mean, I don't believe in this world if everybody gets a trophy. Participation is great, but we're here to do one thing, and that's to win. And if we don't win enough, they'll fire me, and I'm okay with that too because I want this place to be special. And if it's somebody else, that's okay.
Just one last thing for everybody, because Van doesn't read my emails and Brandon doesn't listen. It's on the very front page of the notes. On the front page of the notes, the game will be broadcast on My 50. It will also be streamed on the Mountain West Network. We want to thank J.J. Buck for allowing Jeff Sibieta some time on the air to do the game. J.J. is apparently the official announcer for everything in Albuquerque these days. So Jeff will be the play-by-play, and George Carter is the analyst for that game.
JJ, you did a great job yesterday in the soccer game. And with the result, that was tough to do, but you do a great job. I enjoy listening, so don't let it go unknown. Did you have one more?
Yeah, it's not up to you to call for all the fans, although we appreciate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's really up to the people in this room, the media, to let the people know how important it is to have a big crowd here. Let me ask you just straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
What will a big crowd do for your team?
A big crowd helps. A big crowd. If you go back to 2003 when we beat Texas Tech here, it was an unbelievable evening. And Wes Zunker hits a field goal as time's expiring to win by 3 in a great game now. I mean, that's Mike Leach. I mean, Sonny Cumbie, who's the offensive coordinator at TCU, was the quarterback. We played really well, but guess what? We had 37,000 people in the stands that were really, really excited and gave us a whole lot of momentum. In 2008, we beat the University of Arizona out here on this field with a sold-out stadium. That gives you a lot of, the adrenaline. And playing in the stadiums that we played that were empty last year, it's unbelievable the difference it makes and how much you can appreciate people coming to a game matter. Now, I appreciate how much you guys do for us. I mean, the morning talk show on the radio, the afternoon shows, that stuff is invaluable. Now, that group that's listening to those talk shows and watching you guys on the news, they're the guys that are with us anyway. I want those guys to bring their friends with them. And if you have somebody out there that's never been to a Lobo game, bring them with you. It's going to be an all-day entertainment now. I mean, I was at Bubba's last Friday for Cherry Fridays, handing out tickets. I got no problem doing that. I got no problem doing that. You know what? I got no problem. I said it a million times. I have no problem asking people to give things to this program or to come to this program. I will never ask you for something for personal gain. But I'm not afraid to ask, and we need money around here. Well, how are we going to get money? Well, fill up this stadium. We'll have more money. And if we have people in the community that are willing to give money, come on, give it to us. We'll put it to good use, I promise you. I mean, look at that field out there. That thing is beautiful. And come and look at it. The people that are here in Albuquerque that haven't been yet, come on out Thursday night. I get it, it's a school night. But guess what? It's Labor Day weekend, and you have all weekend to sleep in and relax, and your kids will be good. When I was a little kid around here, I used to beg my dad to take me to weekday games. And I promised him, I'll get up for school, I promise you. I promise you there's a bunch of little boys in this town that they'll get up for school on Friday morning if their parents bring them to the game. I promise you that. I was one of them. I got up to go to school, and I'm here where I'm at now. Go ahead, Steve. The quarterback depth chart goes like this. Terry, and then there's an or after everybody else's name. There will be packages for Trey. There will be packages for Isaiah when he's healthy. We will decide on a backup if we have to. But I think those guys bring different things to the table. Obviously, we saw what Isaiah brought to the table last year. He's a great running quarterback, and when we do play action, when we're running the ball as good as we were, the play action throws are wide open, and he put them right on it. Trey is an incredible athlete. Trey could easily be a starting wide receiver or a DB. It's what he did for the first 3 years of high school before he played quarterback his senior year. And so we'll have packages for Trey Hall that may not be a quarterback, but he still has to practice at quarterback because he's going to go in the game if something happens to Terry. And then CJ and Connor are probably behind those two. But the depth chart, I'm not even kidding, it will say Terry Wilson, and then underneath it'll say Trey Hall or Isaiah Chavez or CJ Montez or Connor Janelle. Isaiah is on scholarship. He is. He earned that last year. And I tell all of our kids in this football program, all the walk-ons, if you can prove you can play and you help us, you're going to be on scholarship. And we had a great walk-on program at every place I've been. I don't care who they are. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what race they are, what religion they are. I don't care if they're walk-on scholarship. I don't care who they are. If they can play and help us win, they'll be put on scholarship. And he did that. He's a perfect example. He's a New Mexico kid who believed in his ability. He walked on, and I would have been willing to bet my mortgage that he would not have played quarterback for us last year. Well, I'd be broke because the only 2 games we won, he was the leading quarterback. So you never know when you're going to play, and he believed in his ability. Now he's a quarterback on scholarship competing to play. It's awesome. Appreciate you guys coming. Can't wait till Thursday. Hope to see you all there, and it'll be a whole bunch of fun, and obviously it'll be a whole bunch more fun if we win. But I can't wait to see that place packed. We're going to paint this town cherry. Thank you. Go Lobos.